And yes, this is another Christmas video. I am making a Christmas video. I wanted to make a video that kind of compared what I perceive as Christmas, being from Australia and usually having warm weather, as opposed to the last two Christmases that I've had in the Netherlands. There are so many differences, and yes, Sinterklaas and Santa Claus are really, really similar in who they've been based off throughout history and the idea of giving gifts and things like that. But there are some pretty major differences between how I used to celebrate Christmas and how I've been doing it in the Netherlands. And like I said in my last video, I am looking forward to having a nice warm Christmas again. So here we are in Australia doing exactly that. So I'm going to get started with the Dutch Christmas and what probably shocked me the most, what seemed really strange at first, and talk about my experience having a Dutch Christmas as an Australian. So I guess the first major difference is that the Netherlands has Sinterklaas, and Sinterklaas is celebrated on the 5th of December, and then they celebrate Christmas again later on the 25th, and I think that probably has more to do with the introduction of religion at a later time. But the 5th of December is super big in the Netherlands, and Sinterklaas is something that you just cannot escape if you've got children in the family. So Sinterklaas is based off a bishop that comes from Turkey, and he lives in Spain during the year, and then on the third Saturday in November he arrives to the Netherlands. Now this is usually an actual person that plays Sinterklaas, and he comes on a steamboat with all of his people, and each year it's a different place, and this is usually announced beforehand so that families can make their way to greet Sinterklaas. It's also televised, so you can watch Sinterklaas coming into the country, and all the children know that he's here and preparing to give them gifts. There's also a thing called the Sinterjournaal, and this is like a mini series about the trials and travels and adventures of Sinterklaas, and every year there's usually a problem, which means that he won't be able to give any gifts away on the 5th, and lo and behold, he always manages to pull through. So this is quite fun for kids and entertaining. It makes them feel like they're involved in the celebration and they feel like they're a part of the adventure. So Sinterklaas doesn't have reindeer like we do with Santa Claus, but he has a single white horse. And there have been a few different names over the years. Emergio, I think, was one of them. I think the name has recently been changed to Oh So Snell. So I'm not sure if the horse dies or they just get a new horse when he gets too old. I'm not sure why Sinterklaas doesn't change, but his horse does. I'm not really sure. Now, I have been told in one of my previous videos, the horse does not fly. Okay. He does, however, climb on roofs, and I'm not sure what's weirder, a climbing horse or a flying horse. So if anyone can come up with a better way of how Oh So Snell and Sinterklaas actually get on the roofs, please let me know in the comments below. So Sinterklaas kind of hangs out in the country for a while. He gets up to mischief, he arranges all the presents, and then on the 5th of December, he leaves and goes back to Spain. Now, before he leaves, he will send his people out into the world, well, out into the Netherlands, and they will put presents in your shoes. So the shoes are usually left by a fireplace, by a radiator, or next to a door. Putting presents in shoes was quite a weird concept for me at first. We don't have any young school-age children in the family, so we probably haven't done much of this tradition yet. However, we do the surprise and a gedicht. So a gedicht is a short poem that you write about the person you're giving a present to, and this comes along with a surprise. The surprise is almost like a piñata, so it's a large themed homemade object that is usually something to do with either the present that's inside of it or a hobby or interest that the person that you're giving the gift to is interested in. So there are some incredible examples, and we have a lot of fun doing this as a family. I will be honest though, they do actually stress me out a little bit, and a gedicht is that little bit more difficult for me because Dutch is not my first language. However, it's good fun and it's super, super personal, and you are creating something and making something, you know, that takes more effort than just running to the shop and grabbing something. So I love this aspect of the Dutch Christmas. Now, we usually do the surprise and the gedicht on Christmas Day. We don't really celebrate Sinterklaas on the 5th of December. So usually on Christmas Day, we get together with my partner's family. Everyone brings a dish. We usually have a limit on how much you can spend, and we do like a secret Santa. So you pick a name out of a hat and you just have one person to buy for. And the person usually has created a list of things that would be helpful that also sit within the budget. And I love this idea. I don't know if that's just our family or a very super Dutch thing, but it's super practical and a very cost-effective way to still celebrate Christmas, which I love because I hate the over-the-top expensive Christmases. That's not for me. And yeah, I really like this kind of change in thinking. You make something super personal. It's more about the surprise and the poem, the gedicht, as opposed to how many gifts you can give and how big and better and more expensive they are. So usually, almost certainly every year, we get a chocolate letter, the first letter of our name. And this year, my partner's parents actually sent them to us here in Australia. They also sent us a packet of kruidnoten. And my favorite ones are the ones that are like covered in dark chocolate. Oh my God, they're so good. And we were able to share them with all of my family over here. And I was able to tell them this is what we eat during Sinterklaas. And they're super, super yummy. So kruidnoten. And I am not going to talk about the beaten. And I know there's going to probably be a lot of questions and comments about that in the description. However, Not Just Bikes, the YouTube channel, has done a fantastic video explaining this section as well. So if you do want to check out a little bit of the history about that, then feel free to go on and check out his video. I will leave it in the description below. Okay, so now we're going to move on to my Christmas. And it kind of feels normal for me. This isn't something quite weird. This is something that I've grown up with. So let me paint a picture for you. It's usually incredibly warm, usually too warm, and you're usually always sunburnt from already being on school holidays for about a week or so. Now, obviously our Christmas is borrowed from European traditions. We were colonized by Britain, so our Christmas and our traditions are heavily, heavily based and influenced on that version of Christmas. And it doesn't make an incredible amount of sense because it is super, super warm here, and yet we still try and get pine trees, and there's usually fake snow put onto the grounds in shopping malls and things like that as well. So I do find it a little bit strange. It's just Christmas. It's just how it's celebrated, I guess. Okay, you usually do your presents in the morning with your immediate family, and then for lunch and dinner, you are going to someone's house who's organized the lunch. There's a lot of cold meats and salads. Someone always brings a pavlova or a trifle. That's what you have for dessert. And a pavlova is like the best part of Christmas because it's delicious, and I haven't seen it in any other Christmas traditions apart from Australia and New Zealand. And there is a little bit of a debate over who invented it, but it's like a meringue cake, and you put fresh fruit and berries and usually passion fruit or kiwi fruit and stuff like that on top of it. There's always a game of backyard cricket. There's always eskies with cold beers. And when I was living on the beach, we always went for a swim in the ocean, definitely. And it's always a barbecue, and you're always outside. And it's so much nicer. It's like having a summer party, but it's Christmas, so it's fun. And there's always heaps of people around. And especially now that we're all at the age where everyone's having kids, there's lots of grandkids around, and it's just funner when it's warm. Can I say that? So apart from a pavlova being our traditional Christmas food, there is always seafood, usually prawns, and they're cooked on the barbecue.
And there's plenty of shrimps on the barbie.
We have Christmas Day and then Boxing Day, and Boxing Day, not much is usually happening. Everyone's pretty hungover and full of food, and you just eat leftovers from the day before. In the Netherlands, I know they have a first day Christmas, second day Christmas, and some families do a third day of Christmas. Seems a little excessive, but when you're trying to see that many family, you can kind of arrange them into which day of Christmas you're going to see, and none of them really have more significance than the other. Whereas Christmas Day is the important day and Boxing Day is left for playing with toys and parents being hungover. Yeah, so I feel like if someone asked me which Christmas I would prefer, they are so completely different. And if I had my way, I would probably bring all of our Dutch family to Australia and have a big Christmas with everyone in the sun with a nice barbecue and probably go for a swim in the afternoon. That would be like my ultimate Christmas. Also with a pavlova. However, that's obviously not possible this year, so we'll be trying to make the most of a warm Christmas before our next one will hopefully be a cold Christmas again. I want to hear about your Christmas traditions and your Christmas stories, your favorite parts of Christmas, if you've celebrated Christmas in any other countries or lands, how they celebrated Christmas. Let me know in the comments below. I love reading this sort of stuff. So share your stories. I'm interested to know. If you have ever had a Christmas in Australia or have wondered what it's like celebrating a warm Christmas, then let me know that too in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you like watching videos about the Dutch language and the Dutch culture and a little bit of Australian culture, then make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.